He stepped into the courtroom under bright lights, and suddenly the stakes of the battle shifted. Michael Jordan, the GOAT, wasn't there to slam dunk or hit a fadeaway jumper. He was there to pick apart an empire. And in that moment, he struck hard. Michael Jordan took the stand in the antitrust trial between 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports, the teams, and NASCAR, the sanctioning body. On the line, fairness, respect, the future of stock car racing. The court has already found NASCAR holds a monopoly on premier stock car racing. Now the teams are trying to show the sanctioning body abused that power to keep control. Jordan looked at the men in the courtroom. He saw the people sitting behind NASCAR, the ones making the rules, calling the shots. And as he addressed them, you felt the tension rise. Because he wasn't just a former basketball star, he was now a team owner, a fighter for what he believed was right. He didn't mince words. He said, "I never saw Jim France drive a car or risk his life. Give a little more credit to those who put their life on the line." That line hit the silence like a hammer. The courtroom went still because it forced something everyone in that room, lawyers, executives, maybe even fans, had to reckon with. The real danger, the real risk, isn't in signing contracts or cutting deals. It's in driving 200 miles per hour, pushing machinery and humans to their limits. And the people doing that weren't getting the respect, the credit, or the share. Jordan made it about fairness. He reminded the world that the drivers and teams, the ones putting their lives on the line, weren't just accessories to the show. They were the heart of NASCAR. Jordan argued that NASCAR's current model treats these drivers like entry-level chess pieces, while the executives sit safe, far away, pulling levers in Florida. MJ says he wants to push NASCAR to be better. He says the drivers and teams assume most of the risk, while NASCAR sits in Florida. He didn't stop there. He painted a picture of a sport where teams have no insurance, no union. That's where I thought the sport needed to grow. Imagine that. No safety net for the people whose job is to race. No union to protect them. No fair share. Jordan is demanding that this changes, that NASCAR becomes more like leagues in other sports. Leagues that treat players and teams as partners, not rented slaves. When asked, "Why are you doing this?" Jordan answered plainly. Someone had to step forward and challenge the entity to understand that it is a real concern from our aspect. And yeah, for many here, that's the truth of it. Someone had to stand up. Someone had to say enough. In that courtroom, the contrast felt stark. On one side, NASCAR leadership, big money, control, monopolistic power. On the other, teams, drivers, risk, passion, fairness. The former making all the rules, the latter living the danger, paying the price. And the verdict of that contrast came from Jordan. He didn't need theatrics. He didn't need shouting. He just needed simple, hard facts. But the story doesn't end with words, because first came expert testimony, dry numbers and analysis, but potent. Edward Snyder, a respected economist, got on the stand and explained how NASCAR has created barriers in premier stock car racing, barriers that shut out competition, depress team value, and let the sanctioning body keep all the control. He laid out something big. The damage the teams claim they suffered $365 million in combined damages. That's not pocket change. That's headline shaking. And Snyder didn't just show damages. He argued that NASCAR could afford to pay the teams $300 million more per year and still run their business fine. That claim punched through the idea that the team's demands were unrealistic or greedy. It reframed the fight. This isn't about entitlement. It's about what's fair, what's sustainable, what's real. And with Jordan, the superstar turned owner turned whistleblower, paired with Snyder, the expert laying out the math, the case suddenly transformed. It became more than a lawsuit. It became a challenge to the very foundation of NASCAR as we know it. Make no mistake, this trial isn't just about charters or contract. It's about power, about respect, about whether a series built on the sweat and danger of drivers will finally treat them like human beings deserving of safety nets and fairness, or stay as it always has, a monopoly, where a few at the top call all the shots while everyone else barely squeaks by. Michael Jordan stood up. He dared. He challenged. And for 1 hour in that courtroom, he made it clear. Enough hiding behind tradition. Enough treating drivers like fuel for the machine. Because if the sport doesn't change, if NASCAR doesn't change, then maybe it doesn't deserve the name of a fair competition. Maybe it's just a cage. And in that moment, the cage rattled. But just when you thought it couldn't get more explosive, it did. Because what came next wasn't just emotional, it was surgical. Edward Snyder, The economist who already rocked the courtroom with his numbers returned to the stand with one clear purpose: prove without a doubt that NASCAR didn't just dominate the sport, they rigged it. Snyder testified that NASCAR's entire structure creates barriers to any competitor even trying to break into the sport. And not just soft walls, concrete fortresses. Every rule, every deal, every contract is designed to make sure no other racing league could survive, let alone compete. According to Snyder, NASCAR didn't just maintain a monopoly, they protected it like Fort Knox. Then he dropped the quote that hit the gallery like a brick through glass. When NASCAR leadership reacted to a possible competing series, Snyder said, "You don't see, pay the teams more. No panic about fairness. No interest in fixing a broken system. Just lock it down. Keep the money. Keep control." It wasn't just about greed. It was about arrogance. Snyder explained that this greed didn't just hurt competition, it hurt the very teams NASCAR claims to support. The same teams that fill the stands and bring the fans. The value of those teams, he argued, has been held down, suppressed. Because if the teams have no other place to race and no way to negotiate, NASCAR owns them. Simple as that. Let me explain how big this is. In court, expert witnesses aren't just talking heads.